3 of the 10 barbecue sauces on this list are secretly made by the same company, selling you the same product under different names at different prices. Here's what's actually in the bottle. If you think people deserve to know what's actually in the bottle before they pour it on their food, hit that like button right now. Every like tells the algorithm this investigation needs to be seen. Now, let's start with number 10. Number 10, Tesco barbecue sauce. We start at 10 because the issue here is something most people walk past without noticing. Tesco's own brand barbecue sauce has 3 forms of sugar in its ingredients before you reach garlic or spice. Tomato puree comes first, which is fine, then sugar, then caramelized sugar syrup, then smoked dextrose. Dextrose is glucose, a fast-acting simple sugar used primarily as a cheap bulking agent. None of those 3 sweeteners appear on the front of the bottle. What appears on the front is the suggestion of a barbecue tradition that does not exist. The smoke on the label is not wood smoke. It is smoke flavoring, a manufactured additive that mimics the smell of fire without any fire being involved. At 440 grams for under £2, this is a very cheap product, delivering a very specific flavor that the label implies comes from somewhere real. Step up, because the next brand is doing something almost identical, but charging considerably more for the privilege. Number 9. Asda Classic barbecue sauce. Asda's Classic barbecue sauce lists 25 grams of sugar per 100 grams. A quarter of its weight is sugar. But the more interesting issue is in the coloring. The label lists sulfite ammonia caramel, E150D, Class 4 caramel coloring. This is the caramel coloring class produced using sulfite and ammonium compounds at high temperatures. Class 4 caramel is the most commonly used brown coloring in processed food. It is also the class most associated with 4-methylimidazole, 4-MEI, a compound that forms during production and has prompted regulatory concern in several countries. California set a legal limit requiring warning labels above a certain threshold. The UK and EU haven't. The ingredient is legal and present in a budget barbecue sauce, doing the work that actual caramelization from genuine cooking would otherwise do. The next entry does not have the caramel coloring issue, but trades it for something that affects a group of shoppers who often don't realize they need to check. Number 8. Heinz Classic barbecue sauce. Heinz Classic barbecue sauce opens with tomato puree, which is encouraging. Then comes spirit vinegar, then sugar, then molasses, then water, then modified corn flour, then salt, then spices, then garlic. The word classic in the name implies a recipe with history and integrity. What it describes is a sauce where the primary flavor, after tomato and acid, is sweetness from 2 separate sources before the garlic even appears. The thickener is xanthan gum. The smoke comes from smoke flavoring, not smoke. The natural flavoring, listed at the end, is an umbrella term that can cover hundreds of compounds without disclosing what they are. Classic is a word that BBQ sauce manufacturers use to mean the version with the most sugar in it. Heinz makes this sauce well. They have made it for decades. It is still a bottle of sweetened tomato with a smoke flavor added. Heinz Classic retails at around £2.85 for 480 grams. That's £5.94 per kilo for sweetened tomato puree with smoke flavoring. Keep that number in mind. It matters when we get to what you should buy instead. This next entry is the same product with a different name and a flag on the label that carries a great deal of British trust. Number 7. HP Classic barbecue sauce. HP sauce is one of the most recognized British food brands in existence. The bottle shows the Houses of Parliament. The label says classic and implies a connection to something authentically British. The ingredients tell a different story. Glucose fructose syrup is the 3rd ingredient after tomatoes and spirit vinegar. Molasses, 4th. Sugar, 5th. 3 sweeteners in the top 5. The sauce is made by Heinz and produced in the Netherlands, not Birmingham, where it originated. That move cost 125 jobs, and prompted a Labour MP to brandish a bottle in the House of Commons in protest. The Houses of Parliament on the label have no connection to where this sauce is made. It is a Dutch-manufactured Heinz product, wearing a British heritage costume. Moving on, because the next one has an even more specific claim to heritage that falls apart on closer reading. Number 6. Levi Roots Reggae Jerk Barbecue Sauce. Levi Roots went on Dragon's Den in 2007 and pitched a family jerk sauce recipe from his grandmother in Jamaica. He got the funding. He built a brand. The story is real and the marketing leans on it hard. Put some music in your food. Scotch bonnet chilies and Caribbean spices. The ingredients: water first, sugar second. The Scotch bonnet chili puree appears at 1.3% of the sauce. The actual Scotch bonnet pepper content within that puree is 1% of the total product. 1%. The sauce contains 30 grams of sugar per 100 grams. The most prominent flavor is not jerk. It is sweet. The Caribbean herbs and spices that the label lists, allspice, coriander, cinnamon, nutmeg, thyme, all appear after a base of water, sugar, vinegar, tomato paste, onion puree, and modified starch. The story of a Jamaican grandmother's recipe is a marketing frame around a sauce that is mostly water and sugar. That gap between the story and the bottle is what earns it a place on this list. Next up is a brand that uses an even more specific story to justify its premium price. Number 5. Bullseye Original Barbecue Sauce. Bullseye presents itself as bold and distinctive, the choice for people who want something with character, not a generic supermarket sauce. The branding is confident. The bottle is distinctive. The price sits above own label but below premium. It is a Heinz product. The same company that makes HP barbecue sauce and Heinz Classic barbecue sauce also makes Bullseye. The ingredient list includes sugar, molasses, and maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is a processed starch derivative with a glycemic index higher than table sugar. It spikes blood glucose faster than sugar does, while contributing almost no flavor. It is used here as a cheap filler and texture agent. The smoke in this sauce comes from two separate sources: smoke and smoke flavoring, both listed as ingredients. There are two types of manufactured smoke in the same bottle. The brand that markets itself as the bold choice is a Heinz product with maltodextrin, two kinds of artificial smoke, and a name that implies it has nothing to do with Heinz. Bullseye is a Heinz product built around maltodextrin and two kinds of manufactured smoke. The next entry is also a Heinz product, and it uses 3 separate sweeteners before you reach a single spice. Number 4, Heinz Sweet Barbecue Sauce. If the classic version was sweetened with sugar and molasses, the sweet version adds a third sweetener to the mix. Heinz Sweet Barbecue Sauce uses golden syrup, specifically listed as partially inverted refiner's syrup, alongside sugar and molasses. 3 sweeteners. The golden syrup sits in position 3 on the ingredients list, between spirit vinegar and sugar, meaning it is present in significant quantities. Partially inverted refiner's syrup is a byproduct of the sugar refining process. It is cheaper than refined sugar and has a higher fructose content, intensifying perceived sweetness at lower cost. Heinz is using it because it is a cheaper way to make something taste sweeter. The front says sweet. The back says 3 separate processed sweeteners in the first 5 ingredients. Both are accurate. This next entry builds on the same template but adds an element of celebrity that makes the gap between name and contents even harder to excuse. Number 3. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey Barbecue Sauce. The Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce is among the most expensive sauces on a standard UK supermarket shelf. It carries the identity of one of the world's most recognized whiskey brands. The label says it is made with authentic Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey. The first ingredient is cane sugar, then water, then apple cider vinegar, then tomato paste, then molasses, then tamarind concentrate, then distilled vinegar. Somewhere further down comes Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey, listed alongside dried garlic, spices, pineapple concentrate, and pectin. The whiskey is present in trace quantities after the tomato paste, well after the molasses. You are paying a premium for the name on the label. The primary ingredient in this sauce is cane sugar. The whiskey is a decoration. This is not barbecue sauce infused with whiskey. It is a sweet sauce with a brand license. Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce retails at around £3.50 for 260 grams. That's £13.46 per kilo. For a sauce whose first ingredient is cane sugar and whose whiskey content is a trace quantity. The label does the work the whiskey can't. Independent reviewers who have tested the sauce on the grill describe the whiskey presence as hard to discern from the smokiness. Present in name more than in flavor. One published sauce review put it directly. Don't let the name on the label fool you into thinking this is a gourmet product made with real whiskey. At £13.46 per kilo for a sauce whose dominant flavor is cane sugar, that is a reasonable thing to know before you buy. The runner-up earns its position because of the specific way it uses 5 different sugar sources and a preservative in the same bottle. Number 2, Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Sweet Baby Ray's is the most widely sold barbecue sauce in the United States and increasingly available in UK supermarkets including Costco and online. The original flavor contains 5 different forms of sugar: high fructose corn syrup, pineapple juice concentrate, molasses, and sugar. High fructose corn syrup is the first ingredient in the bottle. In the UK and EU, high fructose corn syrup cannot be sold under that name. UK food regulations require it to be labeled as glucose fructose syrup instead. The name change is mandatory. The ingredient is the same. The US FDA classifies it as generally recognized as safe. The UK's Food Standards Agency requires the name to be disclosed accurately but sets no limit on its use. What UK consumers buying Sweet Baby Ray's are getting is a product built around a sweetener specifically engineered to be a cheaper, sweeter alternative to sugar, listed under a name most shoppers do not recognize as the same thing. The sauce also contains sodium benzoate as a preservative. When sodium benzoate is present alongside ascorbic acid, the two can react to form benzene, a known carcinogen. Sweet Baby Ray's does not list ascorbic acid directly, but pineapple juice concentrate, which it contains, naturally includes it. Whether the quantities involved are meaningful is debated. The combination is not something the label volunteers. The sweetness is not subtle. Food enthusiast forums discussing Sweet Baby Ray's regularly describe the ingredient list in the same terms. One widely shared reaction put it plainly: high fructose corn syrup plus molasses plus sugar amounts to little more than tomato paste added to a bottle of pancake syrup. That is a consumer reading the label and reaching the same conclusion the ingredients support. The sauce is enormously popular. That does not mean it is well labeled, which leaves us at number 1. A brand that is not a single product, but a model, and the problem that most shoppers never see coming. Number 1. The reduced sugar barbecue sauce. Every major brand and every major supermarket now sells a reduced sugar or low sugar barbecue sauce. The positioning is clear. This is the responsible choice. The one you pick when you're being careful. Tesco has one, Heinz has one. Most of the brands on this list have a version that promises less of the thing that made the original concerning. The sugar reduction is real, but what replaces it is where the story becomes complicated. Reduced sugar barbecue sauces typically use artificial sweeteners, acesulfame K, sucralose, or both, to maintain the sweetness the original achieved with sugar. Acesulfame K is around 200 times sweeter than sugar. Sucralose is around 600 times sweeter. Both are food safe and approved by UK and EU regulators. They are also associated in a growing body of research with disruption to gut microbiome diversity and altered glycemic responses in some individuals, effects that are under active scientific review. More practically, both compounds are significantly sweeter than sugar, which means they train your palate to expect a higher level of sweetness than sugar alone delivers. Removing sugar from a barbecue sauce and replacing it with something 200 to 600 times sweeter is not a health improvement. It is a different trade-off with different implications that the label does not discuss. The bottle says 30% less sugar. It does not say what the 30% was replaced with. This is number one, not because it is the worst sauce in isolation. It is number one because it is the one most likely to be in your fridge right now on the specific assumption that it is better for you. That assumption is not supported by the label, and the label is all you have. So what actually looks different? Here is what a better barbecue sauce looks like, and what it costs. Stubb's Original. Widely available in the UK. The ingredients: tomato paste, distilled vinegar, brown sugar, salt, dried onion, spices, natural hickory smoke flavor, black pepper, dried garlic. 9 ingredients. 1 sugar sauce. What that produces in the bottle is a sauce built on actual tomato. Deep, paste thick, leading with acidity rather than sweetness. The vinegar bite comes first, then the tomato, then a clean smokiness from specified hickory rather than generic smoke flavoring. It tastes like something made from ingredients you can name, not a sweetness delivery system with barbecue associations added after. Compare that ingredient list to Sweet Baby Ray's. 5 sweeteners, sodium benzoate, and manufactured smoke. Same shelf in some stores. Comparable price per bottle. Completely different product. Tesco Finest Kansas Style Barbecue Sauce. 62% tomato puree. 2 sugars instead of 5. A short ingredient list that actually reflects what barbecue sauce is supposed to be. This is the same supermarket whose standard barbecue sauce is number 10 on this list. The difference is on the label if you know what to look for, and it is in the same aisle, usually on the same shelf. Let me put the pricing in context. Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce costs around £3.50 for 260 grams. That's £13.46 per kilo, for a sauce whose first ingredient is cane sugar and whose whiskey content is a trace quantity. Tesco Finest Kansas Style costs under £2 for 490 grams. That's roughly £4 per kilo, with 62% tomato puree and a cleaner ingredient list. 3 times less money for a genuinely better product. The premium brand is not the premium product. Or make it yourself. A base of tomato puree, cider vinegar, smoked paprika, a small amount of molasses and garlic produces something no supermarket sauce on this list comes close to. No maltodextrin, no sodium benzoate, no smoke flavoring. The ingredient list is 5 items long and you already have most of them. It takes 15 minutes. 2 things worth knowing before you buy. Check whether the tomato is doing real work. The best barbecue sauces lead with a high tomato puree percentage, 60% or above. When tomato is first on the list and present in a meaningful quantity, the sauce has a genuine base. When water or sugar leads, the tomato is a flavoring, not a foundation. Count the sweeteners. 1 is standard, 2 is common. 3 or more means the sauce has been engineered around sweetness as its primary characteristic, not smoked meat, not vinegar, not spice. None of these sauces are dangerous. Most of them taste good. The issue is what is being sold and what is actually in the bottle. Now you know the difference. Every sauce on this list is legal. Most of them taste exactly as advertised. The problem isn't what's in the bottle, it's what's on the label. If this investigation changed how you'll shop, subscribe to Food Check UK so you don't miss the next one. And tell me in the comments, which product should we investigate next? Because the next one is already on shelves, and the label is hiding the same tricks.